Hello, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's watching this episode of our podcast, the Captivated series podcast. And my guest today from the city of Palace, Mysore, is Vijaya Gowri, who runs a unit called as Stuffed Buddha. So when I was talking to Vijaya and I was sending her the questions for the podcast and I asked her for her email, she said that her email is psychologyguru@gmail.com. So it got me very intrigued and I immediately asked her, why is it psychology guru? So that's when she said that her education background is with psychology, and that was very interesting for me. So I have actually named the episode as Captivated by Vijaya Gowri, from studying brain patterns to fabric and sewing patterns. So, welcome, Vijaya. Good morning.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much
Thank
for
you
doing
so
this
much.
episode. How are you today?
I'm fine, but I just have to say that your introduction and how you changed the name of the episode is really creative on your part. Really sweet.
Yeah, because psychology is all about brain pattern, right? And now I see so many patterns behind you in your Instagram, in the work that you do. So I'm sure the pattern is a pattern that you're continuing.
I'm hoping to do more of it.
Yes. So tell us, Vijaya, in your childhood, did you start sewing as a child, or you did it when you were a young adult, or you started a few years back? What's your relationship with sewing?
With sewing, really, I had not even held a needle and thread for like most of my life. To be honest, I think it was only in 2014
Okay.
when we were expecting our first child. And So we had hoped that, just when we bring her home, we'll bring her in a piece of cloth made by us.
Okay.
So with our family, friends' help, and I just randomly picked up some fabrics from a shop and not knowing how to do it and etc. etc. And turns out to be that my husband was better at better seamster than I was. So literally
Okay.
by hand we made some small squares. By hand we stitched it up,
Okay.
and after we stitched it up with hand, my sister suggested that these may not last for too long.
Okay.
And I had used any like really thin thread and so on and so forth. So my sister suggested that I just take it to a local tailor and just get those lines redone from
Okay.
a tailor. And
Okay.
for me and my husband, who don't know much about sewing, we took
Huh.
a good we took a good 20 days. And
Wow.
this guy just stitched it up on all those lines in like less than 5 minutes. I was like,
Okay.
oh my God, this is so much easier with a machine. So
Okay.
that is how it started. And so it is just in 2014, like I made my first quilt for my child, and that's how it started. I had no clue. I mean, I liked getting a tailor to make nice dresses for me. That was the
Okay.
farthest that I had gone to getting into clothing. But quilt, anything like table mat, nothing. Like I had no
Nothing.
clue, no needle thread also. So 2015, I think I purchased my first really small Usha
Okay.
Genomi machine, and I think that machine was so abused.
Oh my
I,
God.
I learned everything on YouTube. YouTube is my guru, and that's how it started.
Okay, so no one at home, maybe your mom or aunt, anybody sewing around you, nothing. So that's quite surprising.
Dur dur tak. Nobody,
Okay, so
nobody at all.
what were your emotions, for somebody who's not even held a needle and thread to take it up as a profession or as a business? What were your emotions or thoughts behind, starting an entire business around this?
I mean, the thought of making stuff Buddha into a business model was never the idea when it started. To be honest, we actually started off with our flashcards. I made a small set of flashcards. I'll show you in a minute.
Okay, fabric
So
flashcards, is it?
No, this was actually not fabric flashcards. These were proper paper flashcards, which
Okay.
were like the first project, so-called, that I did was not thought of to do like, for business idea at all. It was just a quilt I wanted to make for my child. But
Okay.
as I was on a really good long maternity break. Mm, we just came up with a small idea. I wanted to make some flashcards for children. As it
Okay.
is, I mean, to be honest, I'm not very religious, but I wanted to introduce some um, cultural material for my child. So
Hmm.
most of my projects have come about with the thought that it was going to be for my child. So we
Okay.
made two projects. One was quirky professions, and another
Okay.
was Hindu gods and their
Mm-hmm.
transportation. So
Wow.
ideally, so we'd have a god
Yeah.
like Shani,
Okay.
and the
And
back of the card would be
oh,
his Vahana, his
wow.
transportation.
So
So
cool.
this is how actually we started. I mean, this was my first product ever. And then one of my really good friends, Jamie, she saw my baby's quilt. And I think that's where it started. And, one led to another. And somebody was asking me, you made this for somebody. Can you make this for my baby as well? So this is how it started. In fact, I think the first few equipment that I bought for stuffed Buddha were all like, if I made something for my friend or for my friend's baby,
Okay.
the return prize was not money paid or anything, but it was like a rotary cutter, a ruler,
Okay.
a mat, so on and so forth. So that's how I think small little projects were made and thought of even, and then added to the pool of this whole stuff with the as a label right now.
Okay, interesting. So you researched about it like from the tools like needle, thread, scissor, you migrated to rotary cutter and mat. So you said YouTube was your teacher. You learned all this from YouTube and you asked your friends to get those supplies for you.
Very, very much, very much.
Okay, and then you kept a place. And was Stuffed Buddha the first name that you decided, or did you have some other names?
No, no, no. It was
No.
only stuff Buddha. I mean, that the name also came very organically only
Okay.
because, I was just feeling like, I also was making some small dolls. So I felt like we were stuffing it with love. Stuffing just stuck because we were thinking like something is being invested.
Hmm.
So we were stuffing it with layers of batting, fabrics. So stuffed kind of stayed. And then I like Buddha and very serene,
Yeah,
very,
very calm. Yes.
ha, so tranquil. That was something that stuck. I mean, has been with me for a long time. It's nothing religious at all.
Yeah, so
So that's
it was also on the cards that you showed. So it was actually just a name created and then you migrated from cards to, let's say, fabric materials. So the name
you're
has
right.
been constant.
You're right. You're right.
Okay, so your first product was a quilt. After that, what all did you make?
I think I overestimated my abilities and I thought I will do more quilts. And, I just thought, when you watch a YouTube video, they just make it so easily
Yeah,
and so, like, I mean, it's on time lapse. I'm not unaware of that. But then, the products were being made so fast and the speed at which they were making and the ease at which they were making, I thought, oh, even I can make it.
yeah,
And then when I sat down to cut, and then when I sat down to do the applique work, and
yeah,
then there was a burst of, oh my God, I can't do half of what they teach. So, or what they were showing in their videos.
yeah.
Uh, so, the expectation was not to like make, other products at all. I just thought I'll do quilts. And
Okay.
then I said, obviously quilts need a lot more training, lot more
Hmm,
patience. And I had a
hmm,
little baby and a whole lot of
hmm,
other things were
hmm,
happening. So I said, let me pick one project which I can do for like one night where, my daughter goes to bed early and then I have 2 hours, which I will finish in that day and then maybe pick it for another day. So I
okay,
started making smaller things, like I made hair bows for her, and
okay.
then I started making some hair ties. Most of it was revolving around her.
Yes, yes.
And,
Okay.
so this hair bows again. And then I said, okay, one or two occasions when we were traveling, how to keep all her things together. So
Hmm,
then we
hmm.
started making pouches. I started making pouches. Till then, I
Okay.
had nobody else working with me. So this was the process. Like quilting is what I started with, but
Hmm.
then I realized that that material doesn't need to be just used for quilts. It took me a
Yes.
long time
Yes.
to
Yes.
realize that. So I started making. I got a little bit realistic in my own world,
Okay.
and then I said, let me make smaller projects
Yes.
and then see. And it was not, still at that point of time, Vishaka, it was not thought of to be made into a business at
Business.
all, because
Okay.
like I had not, you know, like I mentioned, dur dur tak in our family, so there is no businessman or anything of that sort. So this was just like time pass till the time that baby goes to school, and then we'll see what else we can make. So
Okay.
yeah, other products came about.
Wow, that's very nice. So now, since we are talking about products, how do you like you're making so many different products? So do you do like a market study and then come to a product saying that this could be in demand? Let me work on this, and then do you do some research on the selling capability of that product, or how much parents or mothers are going to buy it? How do you go about designing a new product altogether?
See, the best thing that has happened to me is that parents are like, I started, right? Like I was a parent to a little girl, and then
Hmm.
I wanted to give her little pretty cute little things. So this
Okay.
way, the way that other parents saw it was like, oh, you've made this. Can you also try to make this?
Okay.
Okay. So that was how my word of mouth was my marketing. And
Mm-hmm.
to be honest, I think mothers in general have like such a sweet demand for me to make products for their babies. So that itself has been a challenging, good challenges, to be honest. It's
Okay.
not challenging in the sense that, they gave me something that was undoable or anything. But
Okay.
in terms of marketing, I mean, to market a product which is not there, has not been the idea behind Stuff Buddha at all, because Stuff Buddha has been more about, there is a creative call and we
Okay.
want to do something.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, as much as we've had, customers giving us orders and things like that, once in a while we just shut down and say, let's make something different.
Hmm.
Because we're like, this is a creative vent. It is not more so. I mean, a lot of people may disagree with me because business people are like, all right, you have to have an agenda, you have to have this and that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I don't think everything needs to work in that process.
Correct.
And this process helps me because, like, I have a lot of creative ideas, or I see something somebody has made, like, I've seen your Kaudis and I want to make it at some point of time, like, that draws me. So
Okay.
I haven't gone looking for, like, a product is missing or this can make a very good business. I mean, of
Okay.
course, we've started making something like, I don't know if you've seen our busy book. So that has
Yeah.
really caught on by itself.
Yeah.
So, that is how we've made something, and then, somebody's picked it up and somebody's spoken to somebody else about it, and that's how it's grown. So it's created its own market through creation, whatever we've done in the studio.
Hmm. 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 Yeah. So I understand now. So it's instead of launching a product with your market study, you have simply made a product out of necessity or demand from the client, and that has picked up when other clients see it and they want a similar product. Okay, that's how
Yeah,
your business took off. So now that you're
yeah.
talking about the books, can you tell us what are these books and how does it help? Challenges behind going to make each of these books. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah. So, paper, sorry, binding.
So we are actually recording the episode, and Gauri is in her workshop with her help being around and movement in and around the workshop. So take it a part of spending a day with Gauri or a few hours with Gauri in her workshop.
Yeah. So our busy book also came up very organically. Again, another friend of mine was actually moving to China. I think that was my first product. So I
Okay,
made a small little gift for the baby
okay,
with like number written one and one
mm,
button sewn in. And
Oh.
the number was in arithmetic, of course, and I also painted the numbers in Chinese Mandarin language for her.
Wow.
So this was first thing that we did, and then we, went on to adding more pages to it.
Hmm.
So if you can see,
Yeah.
so we made a comprehensive 24 pages book at this point of time. So we
Wow.
had added shapes, we added numbers, we added, we are going to include letters here. So the
Okay.
challenge has been great for us. So this is
Mhm.
kinesthetic and, for children to learn eye-hand coordination, finger
Yes.
dexterity.
Yes.
So these are some of the pages that we've made. So this is a 24 pages book. Now, the beautiful thing about how this book has grown so well is that, I'm sorry. So we have a customer at this point. We have more pages. This is to
Wow.
show for children to learn different, sizes as well as colors.
Okay.
And we have a fishing page. There are fishes stuck inside this page.
Oh my
And then
God.
this is a game page, again for finger movement, where the
Yes.
child has grown so beautifully that the book actually has reached a lot of people.
Okay.
So we've managed to send this book to several different countries. And our latest order, we made a set of book. So our one of our pages is with letters ABCD,
Okay. Huh.
and it turns out to be that somebody who was traveling abroad and they wanted their child's book to have something vernacular, something from home, right?
Uh-huh.
So they are a Kannada speaking family. So we made
Okay.
the letters for them in Kannada. And
Wow.
another family has it in Tamil. And
Okay.
now I'm just so happy that this book is going so global. So
Huh.
we have ready with us the next set of letters. This is Korean letters.
Oh, wow. So these are
Yeah. So
embroidered?
somebody,
Is it like
yes,
embroidered?
yes,
Okay.
yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
So we
Wow.
managed to, that's what I'm saying, like the idea comes from parents.
Mm.
And I mean, we give them a small idea. This is how we're going about. And then they make it into their own and customize it according to their
Requirement.
requirement. Yeah.
Interesting. So Kannada alphabets, Tamil alphabets, it does help, you know.
I've done Marathi numbers.
Oh
I've
my
done
God.
now Korean,
And Chinese, of course, you did the first project,
Mandarin,
Mandarin,
started with.
yes. Yeah, that's very
Yes,
cool, Gauri.
yes,
Very nice. So, what
right,
age
right.
group is this book specially for? Like, what age group kids?
See, that's another good thing about Mother, right?
Hmm.
There is a whole lot of research which is being done about high contrast books, right?
Okay.
High contrast books are books which have only black and white and
Hmm.
red here and there, that's all, right? So such books are in big demand now. Uh, Knowing that a couple of mothers have picked up the book even when they were pregnant because they want to start image showing early on.
Okay.
And so I've left to the discretion of the parents to pick up the book because I've told them, do this book does have small objects which has to be, used in
Hmm.
with caution. But fortunately for us, everything is fabric. Nothing in
Hmm.
it is plastic at all.
Hmm.
Um Very one or two material, maybe plastic and metal, but it is all intact.
Hmm.
So I leave it for the discretion of the parents. I give them a very good, suggestion in terms of like how many pieces are there, which ones are, removable. And so we've had mothers who are, pregnant who picked it up. We've had parents up till about 6, 7 years old who picked it up.
Okay. Yeah,
And
because.
actually, this book, uh, personally, I have quite a few parents who have children with special needs who pick up this
Okay.
book
Okay.
because it keeps them active for a longer
Yes.
time, keeps their
Yes.
attention, and not to mention that this is not plastic has drawn more people's interest.
Hmm. 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 Yeah, I guess, and even the alpha learning starts in school only after a certain age, right? So, grade one, and so on and so forth. So that may be of use for older kids also to learn the language.
Yeah, yeah.
Very, very nice. So, what other products does Stuffed Buddha make other than busy books and quilts and hair accessories?
Yeah.
Bags are what
So,
you all work on?
sorry.
Bags? Do you all work on bags,
Yes,
different bags?
yes. We made bags. We made bags. Something I have quite a few products here. So we
Okay,
make bags. We also make laptop pouches,
okay,
iPad pouches. I mean, on different sizes. We've made sunglasses pouches.
cool.
We've made passport holders. I mean,
Okay.
so many we make. We made zipper, wristlet to zip wristlet,
Oh, the twin
and
thing. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Now, actually, this is another bag that we've made. It's a
Okay,
denim bag, and we've made table mat.
cool. So it
Yeah,
really is a
this
lot of
quilt.
products.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This quilt is a I Spy quilt, and
Oh,
I Spy quilt talks about. It's a game for children. I've
yeah.
made this for my daughter. Obviously, I don't have products which I've made for other customers because it's all gone. So I Spy quilt is that it is a house quilt,
Huh.
and each door has
Okay.
a particular print. So
Wow.
each door has a particular print of different animals, fruits, vehicles, and so on and
Okay.
so forth.
Okay.
So if I tell my daughter,
Hmm. I spy.
Sarayu, I spy a
Hmm.
animal
Hmm.
which is awake in the night. It's a nocturnal animal.
Hmm.
She has to look for that particular image which has owls on
Wow. It's so cool, Gauri.
it. Yeah. So that is
Yeah.
another product. I mean, like I mentioned, there are so many products that we make, and presently we are now finishing up this
Hmm.
project. This is Chauka Bara. I
Chaukabara.
don't know if
Yes.
you. This is a
Yes.
traditional Karnataka, I mean, not Karnataka, traditional board game.
Yeah.
So usually people draw it on the floor and play with
Yeah. With a chalk.
cell.
Yes.
Yes. So
Yeah.
we've just finished making about
Ooh.
100 of these people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've had a very sweet customer from Australia who is
Okay.
moving back home for good. So she's
Okay.
buying these for uh, giveaway prizes for all her friends and family and all that. So we do make a host of products, but I think I'm really not done yet. There's so much more to
I can see that. So, what are primarily the techniques that you use? Like, let's say for the chokabara, those lines and all, they are all applique, right? So, what all kind
Yeah,
techniques do you use?
they're all threads. It's
Oh,
a
this is thread.
small,
Okay.
yes, if you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
see up close,
yeah.
these are the threads. So the techniques as such, I mean, for the most part, like any other sewing project, it is handmade or it is machine made. We sew on the machine. And in terms of technique, zippers, for me, technique is adding the different kinds of material.
Mm,
So, like the challenge I am still trying to figure out is how to work with jute, how to work
mm,
with pleather or leather and so on. So, technique wise, different kinds of stitching. I mean, we have different machines. We have four different machines, and each are of different size cycles. So, in terms of using the machine and on the right product, like
mm.
making something so small,
Okay. Yeah,
right?
it's really
So
very small.
this is more a challenge for me than the
Yes.
technique itself. So, like I said, I have no clue how to use the, needle and thread
Needle and
as much
thread.
as now I have trained myself well to use machine. I use the speed machines. I have Usha and Jack. So those are industrial machines which are what I work on mostly.
Hmm. Very cool, yeah, Gauri. So then, when did you decide that I want to hire some women and train them as well to take your business further? Was it a need for help, or was it with the vision of, enabling these women to learn a new craft and pursue a career for them as well? So you do have women in your unit. How did that thought come about?
Engaging of people other than myself came about. Of course, that my child started going to school, and even though it was barely 3 4 hours, which it was, small window, and I had to use up that time very, very, qualitatively. So keeping that in mind, I gave myself a small window period to do some products. And then I,
Okay.
in a very small group of friends only, that I advertised about it. And then it slowly started growing into, I had only one person for the longest
Hmm.
time. And then it grew into two and three and now four of us. So the idea was, I mean, I could easily get it done faster.
Hmm.
Like I told you earlier on, if I went to a local tailor, he just made these straight lines and he gave it to me in 5 minutes.
Hmm.
So, of course, it was easier to outsource the job. It was easier to also hire men, actually.
Okay.
But
Hi,
then,
Ben.
yeah, but then I knew that, you know, I didn't have at that point of time so many orders to engage them in and pay that kind of a salary.
Hmm.
Um, Now, having said that, I wanted to hire women because I knew they would be much like in the same boat as myself, and
Okay.
that was the idea of hiring other women.
Okay.
And from day one, they are not hired for cutting or marketing or one particular job. They
Okay.
are brought in to say that, because for the lot of women I've hired or who've come asking for jobs, they're like, "Me cutting mat I
Hmm.
said it's not like, neck ka job hai, hand ka job hai,
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
all come with an idea that blouse making, dress making
Yeah.
is the only
Complex
thing that they
stitching.
think. And
Yes.
I live in a smaller town like Mysore, where, that's the whole idea. If
Ah.
you're asking somebody for a tailoring job, blouse making,
Yes.
dress making is the only idea. So
Correct.
here, for them, it's like, what is this? Why? Who is buying this? You get this in shop, in leather, in like these kind of things. So it
Yeah.
was a surprise for a lot of people. And like I mentioned, they are not hired for one job. So I
Hmm.
always hire them saying, listen, you learn from here,
Okay.
you get paid for learning from here, and you will do the work that is required in the only such time, 10:30 to 2 o'clock, that we function.
Hmm.
And you
Hmm.
learn it, and then the rest is my headache to market.
Okay. Okay. So the
So from day
prerequisite
one,
is stitching, is it? Should they know sewing when they join you, or you teach them everything?
no, if they just know how to use a basic machine, it's okay. Because a lot of people don't know how to use, they
Hmm.
all use the pegging machine.
Hmm.
So they, I think almost all my employees have taken like more than 2 to 3 months to just stuff the industrial machine. They're like
Okay.
too fast for us,
Very
probably.
fast. Yes.
Yeah. So the idea is to like engage them in such a way that they learn something from here, and the rest
Hmm.
of the day is off for them to be with their babies also. Almost all,
Wow.
yeah, all the ladies who come have had their own babies as well. So I also give them the idea that when I have a child, I
Hmm.
have to take off when she's sick, or I have to take off when I am sick, and so on and so forth. Because they come with the notion that if I need Raja for holidays for festival and those kind of things,
Hmm.
we make
Hmm.
all those adjustments.
Okay.
So, so I knew that this was my situation, and I wanted to hire other people in the same situation because it's easier to work with people much similar to you than
Yes.
extremely different set of people.
Yeah. So I think it's also, your psychology background that helps you maneuver through training women and, handling being an employee to handle people is also a big job, right? So does your psychology background help you in any way to do that?
I don't know, this question might be for my husband. No, no, I mean, jokes apart, okay. It's just that you just have to be yourself, because I mean, if my child has fallen sick and if I stayed back, but if
Hmm.
my employee says my child is sick and I can't come, I'm not going
Hmm.
to force her to come to work,
Yeah.
right? So that has been the mind. That has been the whole thought. Like, if there is a problem, we fix that. And then we come to
Okay.
work when we can. But it
Okay.
doesn't mean that the work missed out gets, pushed under the carpet. No, you
Yeah.
have to compensate in one way or another.
Okay.
So being a psychology background, if it has helped, it has only helped for me to try and test, but I don't know. I mean, I've failed a few times, so it just works sometimes.
Okay. So any learnings from that sector are you using here today to run the business?
I do work with children with special needs. So this
Okay.
book that we've made has definitely been a product of learning from that.
Okay.
And not to mention that, in general, moving from a lot of plastic to fabric makes a very big difference,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So, yeah, those are few of the things. But learning in terms of what I do with psychology is that it's two different worlds, but in terms of engaging people, keeping them happy, keeping them in knowing that your problem is real,
Yeah.
and what I use in counseling setting, and my problem is a problem, but your problem is not a very big problem, can't be the attitude.
Hmm.
So that's where my psychology training comes in handy and say, okay, we have a problem, we fix it, and then we move on to the next one. So
Okay.
a lot of my counseling skills.
Yeah. So that brings the human angle into the business scenario, I think.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you can sum it up like that.
Yes. So tell us about your growing days, Gauri, about going ahead with studying psychology. How did that happen? Why was psychology a piece of interest for you?
Again, all a matter of factly, like just a chance factor happened.
Okay.
Finished my 10th, went with my sister to college in Jayanagar, NMKRV College. And they said offered for 11th and 12th was logic and psychology. I decided logic won't work for me because I clearly had no, practical aspirations, practical aspects and everything. So I picked psychology. After 11th and 12th, it was bachelor's in psychology and journalism and English literature. And then I took a small break thinking journalism is my calling. And
Okay.
I was doing a lot of photography and worked for a local newspaper. And then I went back to psychology to pursue my master's in psychology. And while I finished that, I was working in a non-profit organization in Bangalore.
Okay.
And by random hit of things, I just applied for a couple of colleges abroad and got a seat to attend a master's program
Okay.
in psychology, sorry, in counseling in
Okay.
California. I finished that, and something about being back home was calling, and I
Okay.
just came back. I worked for a brief amount of time in San Francisco, another non-profit organization, and then came back home.
Okay, so quite a journey going abroad, studying so much, investing in psychology. So what does your family have to say about your current role that you play? Like how was it for them, you shifting from psychology to fabric industry?
To sum it up, I think they don't think I'm done, and they're just wondering when is my next move into some other area of another specialization.
Okay.
No, I mean, they're proud. A lot of family members give me orders. Obviously, they like it.
Mm-hmm.
They spread information about it. They are my really good advertisers.
Mm-hmm.
But what they have, I mean, I'm also pursuing psychology on the side. It's not that
Okay.
that has been completely left astray. I teach 3 times a week in a local school called International, ICANN International School.
Okay, so you teach
So,
psychology there.
yes, yes.
Okay.
IGCSE board offers psychology for 11th and 12th. So I teach there, and it has been nothing but absolutely entertaining and has kept me really abreast with what's happening in the world, in the teen world, which is really helpful for me coming back home to
Hmm.
my child.
Hmm.
And it keeps me absolutely refreshed
Yeah,
to
I'm
be
sure.
working with children.
Hmm.
So, yeah. So, with family, I mean, they have a lot of expectations. They need me to be effective, or they're just happy with whatever I do because I'm absolutely happy
Yeah.
and I have a creative bent. I have invested my time, which I've used up for psychology for almost 9 years that I've studied psychology. I use it, I teach it, I
Hmm.
counsel, and so on and so forth. So all in all, pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, so both hands are balanced then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So coming to my next question, Gauri, how, a lot of business people or entrepreneurs in our line have a difficulty in, pricing their product. Or let's say, the client, like say, for example, I saw that you do quite a few memory quilts. So when it comes to memory quilts, they want something very special, but when you tell them the expected price for making that quilt, a lot of them will just withdraw the order. So, how do you price your products, and what kind of strategy do you use with your clients to, discuss about the rate of a particular product that you're making?
Pricing has not been a challenge as such
Okay.
because a lot of customers that I have are return customers.
Oh,
And in the first place, the customers that are drawn to wanting to buy something handmade kind of know have a vague value, a vague idea as to what this can be valued.
okay.
That I have to give it to my customers.
Okay.
But
Nice.
then I have a small gang of friends here in Mysore. We call ourselves the Mysore Art Hub. So we,
Okay.
yeah. So it consists of Meeranti, Vasanti, Rashmi, and Ashwini and Aditi. So these ladies all have their own creative forms. So
Okay.
very often than not, we have discussed these issues as a group, and a lot of them come up with a similar problems that
Hmm.
they may be facing.
Hmm.
Now, in terms of how to price a product, we've kind of come to actually a formula.
Okay.
So we add up what does the product cost. But in
Okay.
terms of, see, memory quilt, you can't add the product in terms of, I mean, product price. The
Correct.
problem is because the product is coming from the client,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? So keeping that in mind, here labor becomes very intensive.
Yes.
So labor is what we charge.
Okay.
Okay. So, like I mentioned, I have to give it to my clients that
Hmm.
they come with a great grand idea, but I upfront tell them that this is what we make. This is the challenge to what extent we can do. These are our skill sets. You want this, we will make the best out of it for you.
Okay. Okay.
So, yeah, I haven't had any customer who said, I don't want this or this is not right or whatever it is, right? But like I mentioned, Vishaka, I think people are really aware of what they want. So they
Okay.
don't come to me with like a very secluded, absolutely clueless idea or anything. But then
Okay.
again, I also have a such number of skill set which I can tell them that this is what I have. But
Hmm.
also to tell them that you know, it takes some many days, it takes some many hours of work.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
try to tell them that, a person who works for an IT firm will cost you per day's work, right? Or a
Yeah.
salaried person. So
Hmm.
on those lines, this is how many days we will need to work on a memory quilt. And approximately this is the price 100, 200, what we will charge you per day, plus the labor otherwise.
Okay. So you're keeping in account the hours invested in the project, and that's how you estimate a value for the product that is being made.
Yeah, and you know what is good about that?
Hmm.
Is that it gives us also a time frame to work
Yeah.
on.
Correct.
Because otherwise you can just jolly well be going on and on and on. Because like I mentioned, by the end of the month, salaries have to be paid,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? So once you think about that, a lot of things come into perspective.
Yeah, yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Because initially, I remember when I started my business in 2011, I struggled a lot initially to decide on a price. Many a times I went into loss. I lost a lot of clients. I wanted to over please them. So when you start a business, you go through that initial phase of, questions how to price my product. So that's exactly, maybe our audience will make use of what you said.
Yeah. No, initially, I think the first product of anything that I have sold has always been on a small loss. Because for
Okay.
me, it is a learning experience. For
Yeah.
me, it is about honing a new skill set. For
Hmm.
me, it is about adding products to my inventory. Those
Okay.
are the things that are advantages to me.
Hmm.
So for that purpose, I'm ready to let go of it to a small percentage of loss. But after
Okay.
that has been established, if you know what your product costs and how
Hmm.
much time has been invested on it, I don't think any creative person will sell themselves down. Rather, we shouldn't.
Yes, yes, very, very correctly put. Another angle to that is, social media. Social media has come in a great deal over the past few years. So what was your, progress in social media? Do you have somebody who does it for you, or you do it yourself? What is your story with social media and business, these days?
So to have somebody else to do it for you is really
The
funny.
luxury.
Because I mean, I buy products from say Rajasthan, so I go to VRL office to pick it up. I will drive there. I will take an auto. I will carry the luggage.
Okay.
Okay, so I will bring it home. I will unpack it, and we will make the product. We will post it on social media. I mean,
Okay.
for the most part, my beautiful ladies take care of the work, which is, I mean, after I make the prototype, like if I don't
Okay.
come up with a product which is like, acha, ye idea hai, you people do it.
Okay. You
That's
make
quite
it first.
impossible.
Yeah.
I make it once because, I mean, at any point of time, anybody can take a day off, right? So
Hmm.
that's why I tell whenever ladies come in, you have to learn to do all the jobs. If somebody is absent that day, you should know how to do it.
Okay. Nice.
And not to mention that you can take those skill set and go and do the rest of the half of the day is off for them. So they can always go back home and make their own businesses. That is
Hmm.
always a welcome.
Hmm.
So keeping all those things in mind, no, there is no social media outsourcing, nothing of that sort.
Hmm.
We make it happen, and that way, social media has been nothing but a great help. A lot of our products are, orders come from Facebook page and Instagram page and word of mouth.
Hmm.
And I don't have anybody other than us ladies who do the work.
Okay.
Everything, packing, courier, everything. So we are A to A. I don't know,
Okay.
B2B, or we are A to A, or
Okay.
rather, we are A to Z.
To said everything. One man show then.
Yeah. No, not one man. Team,
Okay.
team.
Team. Okay. So what, how, if an audience has to find out about you, what should they search on the internet to get access to your page?
Stuff the Buddha.
Stuff to Buddha. So you're on Facebook and you're on Instagram.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So they can connect with you that way. Okay. So now we are almost at the end of our discussion. Next thoughts, or your goals that you think you're going to achieve in the coming few years?
So in terms of goals, there are two parts. One is to be able to give small independence to other women. It's
Okay.
not like by working here they can become breadwinners.
Hmm.
But like I said, they learn skills from here which they can, because it's only half a day's work.
Hmm.
So they can take those skills and go home and invest it in their own little, businesses that they can start by themselves. So there is one part, that one. The other part is I am hoping to make more products for children.
Hmm.
And I know everything, almost everything that we make is for children, but
Hmm.
maybe small little way that we can move from plastic. Not that I don't use very plastic at all, okay, but
Hmm.
small little dent in the plastic toy industry.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm hoping.
Yeah. You make a lot of fabric toys also, right?
Yeah, not as much as we would like to,
Okay.
because uh, we do have very few people who are interested in it, but most of them are interested in quilts, right? So, for example, I was showing you a product, right? Like I
Huh.
have a teacher here in Mysore.
Huh.
She's Miss Reshma. So she rakes my brain like every year, academic year starting. I'm like, oh my God, what will Reshma come up with this time? So she is asking me to make
Okay. Hindi
uh, Hindi
alphabets.
letters, right?
Huh.
Hindi letters and objects to go with it.
Oh, so
So
A is
एक से
ek, ek
हाँ
is one. Okay.
हाँ and एक तारा
Oh my God.
or AD. Okay, so this is really like kinesthetic learning for children to not just know. I mean, they can touch and feel what ache is.
Hmm. Hmm.
And for children at that younger age,
Hmm.
um, to know it from different senses
Correct.
makes learning much more easy,
Yes.
right? So for this purpose, we make these things, and I want to be able to make more of these kind of products if that is
Yeah.
where we want to head, right?
Yeah.
So this is what I'm hoping to achieve and going further.
Okay. And I'm sure it will have a huge market because as a parent myself, I remember having these fridge magnets. Hindi, of course, being a second language, I had fridge magnets to teach my kids all the alphabets. So, yeah, I'm sure this will be of great use. And
Yeah,
along with what the alphabet stands for, that's taking it to
yeah.
another level. Yes,
Can you give me 1 second?
yes, yes.
ಪಂಕಜ್ ಅವರೇ ನಾನು ಬೇಬಿಸಿಡಿ ಮ್ಯಾಗ್ನೆಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀವಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟೊತ್ತಿಗೆ one second.
So this friend of yours, is she a school teacher?
She's
Uh,
a Montessori teacher.
okay,
And much before that, we came up with another product. I had seen this on another social media platform. But
okay,
what small little twist I brought to this is that so this is letter A.
A,
Okay.
huh?
On the letter A, you will see small aeroplanes.
Aeroplane. Ooh,
Yeah. And I have letter I with
with
ice cream
ice
on it.
cream.
Yeah. So letter F with flower on it.
Oh my God.
Okay. So letter W stands for watermelon, so on and so forth. I mean, it's it's quite crazy to be able to source out these projects. I mean, these fabrics,
Yes,
and it's
yes.
quite sometimes it feels like it's impossible. Say, for
Ah,
example, Q ke liye. I mean,
cute. Oh
I'm
my
going to
God.
get
To
quiz.
get a
Okay.
quill
I
wala
mean, there were
fabric.
no, yes, and there was no material available for a few things.
Hmm.
For like
Hmm.
example, J.
Yeah.
Okay, I got jelly print, but this
Yeah.
was hand printed.
Okay.
So for a few letters, we had to go the other, extreme and find more prints. So for few products, we could find fabrics related for. So for jellyfish or even for X, right? Xmas
Yeah.
tree.
Yeah.
Like I like these kind of projects, which makes, one is that you're learning two things from the same product,
Mm.
and not to mention that it is fabric, not to
Yes.
mention that it is, you can touch and feel. It's not on a board, your teacher is not drawing it, but you are feeling
Correct.
it, you're touching it, you're you know moving your fingers on it. So there's
Hmm.
kinesthetic, there is
Hmm.
visual, there is
Hmm.
different senses involved in this.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I think, maybe after working with children special needs, it makes more sense because so many senses come into play when you are
Yes.
learning anything new. So, and each child learns in different formats. So, if you can
Hmm.
offer a lot of senses in one product, like,
Yeah.
I think that's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, that's also application, right? I may have a bag full of fabrics, but I may not connect these two dots and make them a unit. So yeah,
Yeah,
very
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Thank you, thank
coming to the end, I just have one very curious question, and I want to ask it. What is it with your cat and your Instagram feeds or your
you.
Facebook page?
Oh,
What's the story behind your cat? Because I'm a cat person and I
are
love the
you?
way. Is it a she or he? Your cat?
She.
She
So,
keeps
Mango.
appearing.
Mango is a COVID cat.
Okay,
She was delivered, I think, along with maybe three or four of her siblings inside a car because, all the cars
inside
were
a car.
sitting
Oh, was
idle, all
okay.
the vehicles were sitting idle. So in our house, the car was sitting idle. So the babies, I think, either were transported or it was like a layover. I don't know where the mother was transporting. So she was obviously abandoned. There were no
Okay.
whereabouts of any other cat. And we just, for 2 or 3 days, she was really weak. We literally fed her by the syringe.
Syringe. Okay.
And so she survived and she's been with us. And she's a sticky cat. Like I can't make my notes. Like for tomorrow, if I have to get ready to go make, notes for tomorrow's lecture, like I
Ah,
have to make sure that she's settled in some place and then open the books because her favorite place is the book. And
okay.
she's also very musical. And whenever my daughter has her music class on the iPad, she wants to sit right in front of the
Oh,
teacher.
wow.
I don't bring her much to the studio space because, of course, a lot of our products are for babies and
Yeah,
children. So not everybody is,
yeah,
a lot of people can be allergic to animal hair. So we don't
yeah,
really
yeah.
entertain her here. But I'm sure she will love this because it's so nice and warm and so much of soft fabrics that she can sit on.
Correct, correct. Yeah, so I
So
was just
Mango
very
is going
curious
to be
about your cat.
4. Yeah, Mango is going to be 4 years this February.
Okay. Okay, on that note, Gauri, thank you so much for sparing your time and your expertise and your, in Pandora's box full of creativity. Thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm a big fan of your work. There is no doubt about it.
Oh
And
my God.
your new venture with the podcast and this is such a nice way to connect other people who are in similar fields
Yes.
because, we know of a, Square Inch in Chennai or Sala in Bangalore, but do we know their process, their
Yeah.
work? Like you asked me about how to price a memory quiz, right? Like you've asked such, uh, you know, creative questions to other people. There's so much to learn from it. So I'm so happy and looking forward to more of these podcasts.
Thank you, Gauri. The main intent, is like you said, we talk about brands, but the face behind the brand is what I want to bring in the center of our conversations. People recognize those brands with a face. So, stuffed Buddha equivalent to Vijaya Gowri. This is how she looks and this is how she is. So, thank you so much,
Uh,
Gauri.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
Yeah.